Hey, what's going on, y'all? Thank you guys for tapping in. I wanted to review this video that I saw a little while back. Michael B. Jordan, him talking about going to therapy after playing Killmonger in Black Panther. I wanted to share this because it was a very interesting dynamic on why he went to therapy because he needed therapy after playing a movie role, which is very interesting. Like, I don't hear about too many people needing to go to therapy after playing a movie role. So we'll get right into it. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you know when these videos are about to drop. Let's get into it.
Pain and rage and and all those emotions that Eric kind of represents from being black and brown here in America. I was able to kind of put that, into a character and put it on screen. So that's
Mm,
something that I didn't take lightly, and I didn't have a process. I'm not like one of these, some people are methods or people are this or that. I just did whatever I felt I needed to do or whatever I felt was right in the moment every step of the way. So it was no real plan. I didn't have a I didn't have an escape plan either. So like
mm,
every day was just
okay.
going into this place and I just tried to stay there as long as I could. And then when it was all over, I think just being in that kind of that mind state, that real
Uh,
unapologetic, just real like,
okay. So I probably see, and maybe you guys see it as well. Probably where this conversation might be going is, and it is, again, this is something I'm learning myself, and it's very interesting that he's talking about it. From what I'm hypothesizing, and maybe if you guys pick it up as well too, maybe he was stuck in character. Maybe he was stuck in character, and that's why it's very hard for him to break the character. So when you're stuck in character, it's hard to break the character. And maybe even thinking about just not even having to be an actor, because sometimes we get stuck in our own character and it may be hard to break our character. We may get stuck in the roles that we play within our lives. We get hard. It's hard to very like break down like the authentic you when you're playing a character for so long. So I want to see if this is where it goes. I think it'll be very interesting if that is where it's going, because if he's stuck in character, then yeah, maybe going to therapy might be helpful in breaking that character. But let's keep watching and see what's going on.
whatever all the time. Kind of kept it caught up with me and like I got a little a little depressed. It was tough for me
Mm,
for a minute, just readjusting to being around the people that care about me, getting that love that I shut out
okay.
for a long time. Like I shut out love. I didn't want love and affection. I wanted to be in this
Ooh.
lonely place
Okay.
as long as I could in order to kind of capture the essence of what Eric, Stevens was, what Killmonger was. So when we wrapped the film,
Okay. So first of all, if you guys have not seen Black Panther, the first one, um, I know there's a second one as well too that's came out recently. If you guys haven't seen the first Black Panther, you guys probably won't know how ruthless Killmonger was in his scene, and how Michael B. Jordan, which was interesting because I never seen Michael B. Jordan. I never seen Michael B. Jordan actually act in the way he did in Black Panther, the first one. And when I watched it, I was like, dang, like Michael B. Jordan go hard. Like it was dope. It wasn't like any other character he played. So it was interesting seeing him in that dynamic and in that character, because it was really like a careless character. Like if you guys follow the comments, oh, excuse me, if you guys ever follow the comics, or if you guys ever follow any of the Black Panther like characters, Killmonger was a ruthless was a ruthless guy. So for him to play that type of role and having to really capture, like you say, he had to capture the essence of that role. It can be difficult. It can be difficult to capture the essence of that role if that's not who you truly are. You know what I mean? Sometimes we see actors or we see characters or actresses even that might play the same role. Like, there's a, for example, the guy, I can't even think of his name right now, but the guy that plays Diary of a Mad Black Woman, the first one with Tyler Perry, but also he plays in BMF as one of the cops. Like, we always see that bald black dude as like the villain. Like, it'll be very, very hard to see him as anything else. But um Michael B. Jordan is a little bit different type of actor because we can see him as like the good guy, like we saw him in Fruitville Station, but now we see him in like a character like Killmonger. And that in itself is very, very interesting to see. So let's keep rocking and see how much more he's gonna say about this.
I'm like in my mind, I was like, okay, cool, go back to regular life, get back to LA and be cool. But it was a little tough for me at first to kind of like accept.
It was hard just to lay him down,
yeah,
and be done with it.
Yeah.
How did it take you a while?
It took me, I mean, I don't really know exactly when I came out of it, but I went to therapy. You know what I'm saying? I started talking to people, started unpacking a little bit, and like
I find that so interesting. I find that so interesting because I think the body doesn't know the difference. I remember
Wow.
having this
Okay.
conversation with a famous actor once about
She gonna talk about it.
Anthony Hopkins. I was saying, Anthony Hopkins, I feel for you because all the stuff you're taking in, you do so well. And he said, I used to not think about it, but as I've gotten older, I do think about it because he was saying that he had just done a film and he had said to the director he was going to do one wide shot and one close up because he had to have a heart attack because he didn't want to put his body in that state too many times. Because
Okay, so let's talk about this. What type of stressors actors go through to actually play these roles? It's very interesting because him going to therapy, it's not like he had to unlearn a lot of things he taught himself. Because again, like when we go to therapy, a lot of times we try to unlearn the things that we've been taught all our lives, especially when we're having to play these certain roles and, just in our own lives. And I think this is very symbolic and very key because we have to unlearn a lot of these different things to get back to what's really going on and ground ourselves in the sense of reality. Right. So I think it's very interesting that he said that he went to therapy after this because he had to learn how to like love again. Like, if you didn't know how to love, or maybe he did know how to love. I'm assuming he knew how to love before. But now that he went into this character, he had to be ruthless and be very cruel. Now he has to learn how to love again and like learn how to be intimate and like, learn how to kind of play this role or get back to a normal sense of who he was before. Now, Oprah made a good point because now your body doesn't always recognize when what your brain is telling you and vice versa. So your mind may be telling you to do something, but your body needs to catch up to what's actually going on, right? So I think it's interesting that she said that because your body will pretty much sometimes follow wherever your mind goes, right? And your body's not going to be really receptive of is what your mind does or what happens to it. That's another key thing with anxiety is many times our mind is telling us something and we may have panic attacks because our mind is telling us to do something, but our body is reacting differently to it. Like our mind may be in a fear state, but our body's not going to really care about that. It's just going to react to what we're thinking, despite how much damage or how much stress or how much, worry we put into our own vessels, right? So that's sometimes where you have symptoms. You might have people with symptoms of high blood pressure, but they're also anxious as well too because they're stressed out because what's going on in their mind, but their mind's not going to tell them to, your body's not going to tell your mind to stop because you're in such this, amped up state. But let's go ahead and continue.
many times.
Yes.
Because your body doesn't know the difference when you get yourself into that state. And so that's why I think it's interesting for people to hear that even though you're playing this character, sometimes the essence of that, the energy of that still remains.
1000%.
Still remains.
And like your mind is so powerful, your mind will get your body past a threshold that it would have given up on way before. Like you're like there were moments
Wow.
where physically I probably shouldn't have continued, But my mind was like, no, we're almost to the finish line. You got to get
Wow.
it past that. You got to get past that line. But as soon as I got past that line, my body said, okay, we can shut down now.
Mm.
And then that would shut down after that. So
I think that was alluding to what I was saying earlier, where your mind is the most powerful. Your mind is the most powerful. I'm gonna say that again. The mind is the most powerful part of your body, because wherever your mind goes is where your body will follow. So your mind could be telling you to stop, your body's gonna stop. Your body be telling you to stop, but your mind tells you to keep going, you're gonna keep going. Your mind is very, very powerful because your mind controls the part of your body. Your body doesn't control your mind. Just think about it this way, right? So if you're at the gym, you're working out, sometimes you could probably push yourself a little bit harder because not because you're in pain, but your mind is telling you you're in pain. And this is where he was saying, Michael B. Jordan was saying in this film, in this video, was that his body would catch up to his mind after his mind told him it was okay to shut down. Right. So your mind and what's between your ears is the most valuable asset you can have. This is why I stress the importance of mental health, because we could talk about many forms of the body. Like obviously, there's a lot of different things that go on with our body, a lot of different ailments and a lot of different physical conditions that we experience. But if your mind isn't right, you can be a perfect physical health, for perfect physical condition. But if your mind isn't right, that poses the most powerful threat if your mind isn't right. This is where I express the importance of mental health. Let's go ahead and get to the end of the
I
video.
think honestly, therapy, just talking to somebody, was something that really helped me out a lot. And as a man, I think we get a lot of slack for it. Of not, you don't. I don't even talk to nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That whole what it is to be a man, being masculine. Things like that. That doesn't. I don't really subscribe to that because I feel like everybody needs to unpack and talk. Whether it's
Big
at a
facts.
therapist or it's a
Big
close
facts.
friend or a family member or
That's
somebody.
good. That's
So I want to touch just on the end of that video and a lot of stuff that was unpacked just in that last statement, that last sentence. Men, we need to go to therapy. Men, we need to go to therapy. And the reason why I say that men need to go to therapy, because we are not taught to have the intellect and the emotional intellect. We grow up in households that don't allow us to be emotionally competent. So when things that happen to us emotionally, we don't know how to respond to those things. And as a man, as myself, even just as a black man, even though my parents were very, very comforting and very understanding, one thing I did not really learn was the emotional intellect behind everything. I wasn't really taught how to express my emotions. I wasn't really taught how to manage my emotions. I wasn't really taught to how to cope with my emotions as a man. So I feel like even just that last part was very powerful because men, we don't really have that know it all to be compassionate. We don't have that know it all to know what sadness feels like, what it feels like to be depressed. Because what we do is we refer to anger. We just get mad. And when we get mad, what that turns out to being physically aggressive, verbally aggressive, right? So we don't really know how to express how we feel. We get upset. And the thing which the messed up I'll back up. The most messed up thing about men getting upset, us men getting upset, is it is validated for us to get upset. It's okay for us to get upset. Society has made it okay for us not to express how we feel, but to get into verbal and physical altercations. And this is why I expressed the importance of mental health and express the importance of, especially men, black men at that, going to therapy and seeking help, because we are not taught these things. We are not taught these things. So I appreciate Michael B. Jordan for giving us that insight. I know it talked more about character and like getting out of character and going to therapy, but I think it touched on a lot more deeper things, because sometimes we are characters in our own role in our own lives, not being our true selves. And the benefit of going to therapy is identifying how we could be our true selves. How can we be our true selves? That's one thing therapy taught me, was how to be my true self, how to be authentic, how not to code switch. But again, I appreciate Michael B. Jordan for dropping this. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys share it. I'll put the original video in the comments. I really like this one. I think I'm a keep on doing a couple more reviews with some of these videos, because that one I think spoke on a whole different level. Even though it's short, it spoke on a whole different level that I feel like we need to talk about a lot more, for sure, for sure. Again, my name is Terrence the Therapist. Until next time, y'all take care. Peace.